From the Riverwalk to the Alamo to the Torch of Friendship, San Antonio boasts one of the most recognizable and historic downtown areas in the country. But for longtime businesses, the picture's looking a little different these days. Normally, they depend on tourists, conventions, and weekday workers to keep sales steady. But without all that foot traffic, local staples have to work together, and they need support to survive.
The small business is really the soul of a community.
It's hard. Right now, I'm in the kitchen cooking because I really can't afford to pay, an employee right now.
It's downtown. It's growing. It's vibrant, and we want it to kind of continue.
I'm Erica Zucco, and this is Commerce Street, a business podcast from Ken's 5. In this episode, we're introducing you to Centro San Antonio's new Main Street program, providing resources, advice, and ways to work together to help downtown succeed. Sylvia Lopez Gaona is the Chief Economic Development Officer for Centro San Antonio, or Centro, and one of the brains behind the new program.
So the Main Street program was created by our CEO, Matt Brown, in the spring when the effects of COVID started to become evident downtown. So he brought me on to create the Main Street program, which is a program that we are tweaking to really reach out to provide support and assistance to downtown businesses. We saw that all of the businesses were struggling, many were closing, and we knew that something needed to be done.
A major part of the program sends what they call navigators out to work one-on-one with businesses to identify what they need and what programs they might qualify for. Linda Stone is the senior navigator. She hits the streets, plus calls people and goes online to work with individual businesses.
So we're doing this in several ways, right? We're using phone, in-person, and email. We're trying, and I'm actually thinking of starting to reach out to people on Instagram pretty soon too, because we have to reach them however we can, and whatever's the most convenient for them. So sometimes we bring PPE. We have some personal protective equipment donated by the city, and we'll bring that out. And then we gather a little information from them because we're part of a larger group that encompasses the east, south, and west sides that are talking to businesses in all those areas under a contract with the city. And so we gather some data about who they are, what their business is, and then what kind of challenges they're suffering from due to COVID. And then once we have that information, then we can direct them to certain resources that are available. There's a lot of free resources out there, such as UTSA has a COVID Business Recovery Accelerator, there's the Lift Fund, there's Launch SA, there's the Women's Business Center. There's a good number of different resources, so we try to figure out what's most appropriate for them and then connect them. Matt, our storyteller, we do these navigator spotlights, actually in the entire downtown, inside the 4 highways, and we go talk to businesses and we just learn about them and then promote that, take pictures, and Matt does this beautiful story about them. We try to pick ones that are kind of representative, like a grocery or a store, a mom and pop restaurant that's been there forever. We did a record shop, kind of unique businesses, special businesses, and then get it out as far and wide as we can and encourage people to come down.
Centro launched a lot of these efforts for downtown on their own, but the city also tapped them for a contract with the COVID-19 Community Recovery and Resiliency Plan. So they're working in East, West, and South San Antonio too, though much of their Main Street work is still focused on the city center.
We opened up in 2017. We felt like there was a need for a gift store downtown for people that work and live downtown, and we gift wrap for free. We do have curbside service, and we offer free shipping and free delivery.
Doris Pitts and Arthur Pettis co-own Cadeau, a lifestyle and gift shop on North St. Mary Street. They say Centro has been a huge help as they adapted to less foot traffic downtown.
Well, like everybody else, we kind of upped our online presence in terms of e-commerce. That was already kind of in the process, but once COVID hit, like everybody else, we had to come up with ways that were going to put us in front of everybody else or kind of ahead of the game because of lack of residents getting out because of the COVID pandemic and the and the city shutdown. Also, businesses downtown that were working from home. We didn't have that everyday foot traffic, as well as tourism and in conventions. Those are all put to a halt, and as far as we know, they're going to continue to be that way for a long time. So online presence is one of the things. Our Instagram and social media presence also kind of elevated to another level. And then just old school kind of retail tactics of just calling customers, letting them know what's new, whether it's through email blast or personal text messages or phone calls, personal hand notes to customers that you don't really see nowadays. The idea of getting something in the mail and opening it as opposed to clicking on an email, I think is I like getting a letter or invitation or graduation in the mail as opposed to something online. So that was also one of the things we did that kind of doesn't really exist anymore. So we kind of had to change our ways to try to stay afloat like everybody else. And Centro has also been a really, really, really great supporter of that. And also the city providing hand sanitizers and face masks and acrylic panels so you can keep social distancing with your clients. So because of that, we've been able to kind of stay afloat and kind of keep moving forward. It's downtown, it's growing, it's vibrant, and we want it to kind of continue. And Centro's been a part of that, helping people feel safe and comfortable. And so we're grateful for them.
Centro has also made a difference for the owners of Lula's Mexican Cafe in the Milam building on East Travis.
We serve Tex-Mex, like enchiladas verdes, mole, fajita, tacos, huevos rancheros, chilaquiles. Right now, because of the COVID, it's only Monday through Friday from 8 to 2. Well, Centro, they've been really kind. They've been helping me out. They email me like applications for grants and everything, which I've applied already. So hopefully we'll get a response soon. Yeah. Other than that, it's as you can see, it's slow. Very slow, and it's hard. Right now, I'm in the kitchen cooking because I really can't afford to pay an employee right now. So, but it's hard. It's hard. So hopefully we'll make it.
Obdulia Gabriel opened the restaurant with her husband, who she met while working at Mi Tierra years ago. They opened up in 1999, and her family put in years of hard work to build up their customer base, including moving into this location. And while they hope it will stay open, she also understands the choices customers have to make.
I really don't want to be selfish. It's up to them. They have to look after themselves. It's hard. I'm personally very, very, very protective. Especially I'm really afraid for my children, because they're in the front. I'm in the back, so you know what I mean. But other than that, I hope they get back soon because it is hard. And I understand, they have to think about their family also.
She says Centro has sent the restaurant grant opportunities they may qualify for, and she's applied. They hope a safe environment, family atmosphere, and familiar menu favorites will steady the waters until coronavirus declines.
It's me and my husband and my 2 boys. We always worked in a restaurant. My husband right now, he's working in a restaurant. And we both met in Mi Tierra, if you want to know. Yeah. So one time there was a friend of ours that had 3 restaurants, and he goes, well, you want to buy one? And my husband looks at me and I'm like, no. It is a lot of work, yeah. But the benefits are good. So, but other than that, that's how Lula came about. So it is a family-oriented restaurant.
At nearby Garcia Art Glass on South Alamo Street, Gina Garcia says innovation is their mission to begin with. So they appeal to that creativity to appeal to customers when foot traffic slowed.
Our mission here at Garcia Art Glass is to really tell stories through art. And so I consider myself a master storyteller. And so what we like to do is to innovate. We try to bring creativity and innovation all together under one roof where we can solve problems, creatively. And so we just love to create. It's the best place to work in the whole world. Certainly the pandemic has really, brought out new thinking. We've got to, realize that this new way of life really requires a new way of thinking as well. So we've come up with certain things. For example, this hand sanitizer bottle. We're creating these right now and taking orders on them. We've discovered new things, how doctors call telemedicine. We're doing teleart meetings, and so we can do through FaceTime or Zoom or Google Groups. We can actually go to your home. You can show us around with your camera. It's as if I were doing a house visit. And then I can really create and craft a story that revolves around your other artworks, your collections, your whatever, your linens, your family story, or whatever it is, and do something right here remotely in our own hot shop, in our glass blowing studios. So it's really exciting. In the early part of COVID, we were doing a whole lot of that, and now some people are coming in, but that's kind of a new innovation for us.
She also participated in a small minority women-owned business Saturday market event where masks were required, bringing together small businesses and reconnecting local San Antonians with their favorites.
The small business is really the soul of a community. Without small business, just imagine all of the ways in which we not only are able to buy, but able to make contact with another person. The isolation thing, it's really subconsciously, there's an increase of mental illness and an increase of certain things. I think that it's important for people to feel comfortable getting out, to stay vigilant, no doubt, to protect our elderly and take care of each other. But I think it's really encouraging to get out and look at the sun and, come out and walk the neighborhood. There's just a lot of space in Southtown. It's not very claustrophobic at all, but I think that, during this pandemic, we need to reach out to our neighbors.
That same belief is shared by the Centro staff, who say the hard work of preserving the character and energy of downtown San Antonio is an ongoing mission.
Downtown it's beautiful and it's fun, and there's so many places to explore that you never knew were there before. It's a day that is different from your normal day. It gets you out of your work from home environment. It is not crowded with tourists right now. It's the best time to come downtown. There are lots of places to shop and to stop and have something to eat. And you find little spots that you never knew existed.
I was just actually looking at a report that the Hispanic Chamber did some years ago, and it said that businesses with less than 100 employees made up 97% of the economy in Texas and in Greater San Antonio, which is the 8-county metropolitan statistical area. So it's huge, and that's another thing is that a lot of the businesses downtown, they're not only worried about themselves, but all their employees, right? I mean, I've talked to a number who they're paying their employees, even though one of them was closed, and they were still paying their employees because they were just waiting because they didn't want to let them down. And it's a huge responsibility, and people, there's just a lot of caring.
You can learn more about the Centro San Antonio Main Street program on their website, and they say the best way you can help is by getting downtown and safely patronizing these businesses.
We're made up of small businesses. That's the fabric of our economy. That's like the color. And I feel like we have to find a way to get people down here to keep the downtown going, because the downtown is the lifeblood. It's the heart of the city. And there's such a variety of different businesses and all these different people.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Commerce Street, a podcast from Ken's 5. We have more episodes, including one on Shops at the Pearl, adapting to stay afloat during the pandemic, and one on free career training programs offered by the city. You can find those and much more on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and our website, kens5.com/Commerce Street.